Okay? Let's cover the easy ones. The earth is not flat. There. Gravity is real. I've fallen down enough times to prove that one myself. There are not microchips in vaccines or shots of any kind, unless that's the purpose of the shot, is to test something that requires a microchip to flow through your blood. And those exist, but economically it would not be possible to do that for everybody gets a vaccine or a shot. Vaccines save a vast number of lives as opposed to the number of people that have a bad response and die from them. I mean, an unbelievable, astronomically different number of people are helped or saved by science, by vaccines, as opposed to the ones that have a bad reaction. It's occasional. We wouldn't take all the cars off the road because of the people that die in auto accidents. And that number is a lot bigger percentage of the drivers in cars on the road than the ones that die from a vaccine or have a bad adverse reaction to a vaccine cause. So vaccines are safer, much safer than cars, and do society and individuals more good than harm by a lot. The U.S. dollar and all national currencies, basically, from what I've seen, are designed to lose value over time. Like the U.S. currency, the sweet spot is to lose 2% of the worth of the dollar every year. That's what they call inflation. That is where they want it. And they use that to keep the employment rate good and the cost of living manageable. And that's why you get a raise every year. You get a raise not because you're doing a better job than you did last year, not because the company was more profitable last year in comparison to the value of the dollar. Let's put it this way. If the value of the dollar goes down 2% during a year, and you have a factory, the factory is worth a certain amount of value, and the machinery in it's worth a certain amount of value. Well, if you're measuring that with something like the U.S. dollar that goes down in value 2% every year, then that factory, because it's the same factory as it was last year, has to go up in 2% in value minimum just to maintain the value it was. It still produces the same amount, hopefully. It still sits on the same land it did, definitely. So everything, if it goes up 2% a year, if your salary goes up 2% a year, and the value of the dollar went down 2% a year in purchasing, then you really didn't make money. You're just staying even, and you feel like you got a raise. You didn't really get a raise. Okay. If the price of a car goes up more than 2%, then what they're saying is that car was a better investment to make and design and build than putting the company's money in the bank. So since most things go up beyond 2% a year, then that means that one of two things is happening. Either they're lying that inflation is 2% and it's really more like 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 or 10, or they're geniuses that know how to produce something at less cost, but feel they can charge more for it because it's a better product than they put out last year. I don't know how you want to look at that, but the bottom line is that most things go up in excess of 2% during the year, and some of them way more than 2%. Okay? There's things called instruments of investment. But you got to understand the U.S. dollar against it has an expenses of an army, national government, national, Congress and Senate in Washington, president, okay, all sorts of things. They contribute to road construction and road maintenance. They can contribute to oceanic and weather forecasting. They make a lot of rules. They have not only armies in place, but National Guards in place and other things to help control the populace. So that's not bad. I like cryptocurrencies because something like Bitcoin, it has none of those expenses against it. But if you put it into, if you buy Bitcoin and you are responsible with your Bitcoin wallets, okay, it's just as safe as a bank, sometimes safer. And it has none of the utilities that exist running a government, controlling a country, to cause it to go down 2% in value. So right away, theoretically, you're 2% ahead, plus things that give a cryptocurrency value used to be two things. Scarcity, okay, in Bitcoin there's only 21 million of them ever. You can't add to that. That was how it's designed. That's how it has to stay. So 21 million gives it scarcity and demand. And as stock markets and savings and other investments become less attractive and have a tougher time keeping up with the natural inflation of things, Bitcoin will have more demand. As far as other cryptocurrencies, some of that, the new thing is that one thing Bitcoin doesn't really have in any extent is utility. It's really hard to use Bitcoin in your day-to-day activities to pay bills, to buy things, okay? So if a cryptocurrency has scarcity, demand, and utility, suddenly it becomes a triple threat, so to speak. So I'm going to be building a cryptocurrency here soon. I've developed 4 already just to experience it and learn about it. And the one I develop will eventually have utility. Will it have demand? Not right away, that's for sure. Will it have scarcity? Yeah, I'll make it maybe a billion or 10 billion of them totally available. That's not great scarcity, but you got to have some sort of supply to be forward thinking about potential demand. So there's some things I just wanted to bring up that are, as far as I'm concerned, truths. You can have your theories of different people doing different things. And you can have mistrust, and that's fine. But the problem is when you don't trust something and enough people don't trust things, then nothing, even what you believe, is no longer a fact. Because what makes something a fact is a number of people believing that what you're talking about, what you're thinking, and what you believe in is true. So anyways, have a great day.